Hey everyone, this is Mikedot here for OnRPG.com, and welcome to another episode of OnRPG's Kicktracker Report, a monthly web series focused on Kickstarter gaming projects that you should know about. For everyone that's new to the show, each month I go over a handful of new and ongoing Kickstarter gaming projects, take a quick look back at campaigns from previous episodes, and I give my thoughts on what makes some of these Kickstarter projects so special. For the month of May 2016, Chronicles of Elyria by Soulbound Studios had its campaign successfully reach its funding goal on May 14th, with more than 2 weeks left on its campaign, earning over $900,000 in pledges. They've also recently announced that new stretch goals will be introduced as part of a user-based poll, where backers could vote on which features they would like to see added into the game, with top picks being mounted combat, environmental tunneling, and natural disasters. As an added bonus, I got a chance to chat with Jeremy Walsh, the owner of Soulbound Studios, with an exclusive interview to learn more about the games and the ongoing Kickstarter campaign, where we covered topics such as the game's most prominent features, the game's business model, and more. If you'd like to check out my interview on Chronicles of Elyria, just check out the link in the description below. The Wild 8 by indie studio 8 Points was successfully funded on May 13th. And despite being off by a few $100s, the campaign's approval was granted with $59,604 donated from over 1,200 backers. As the campaign was reaching its end goal, the staff at 8 Points was busy collecting backer feedback and suggestions, along with mentioning their plans to open up a development forum as well as conducting a backer-only survey. At the time of this recording, no other details on the game's development has been released. Wrack Starfall, the FPS tower defense game by Final Boss Entertainment, was unfortunately unsuccessful, only earning up to $3,000 toward its $30,000 goal. Despite the failed campaign, the team at Final Boss Entertainment made an announcement that they'll be looking towards other forms of funding in order to get the game finished. However, the details on which funding methods that they'll consider remains to be known to the public. Other than that, they've mentioned that users can keep track of the game's development through their mailing lists and official social media pages. Blast Brawl 2 by Mind's Eye Games also failed to meet its funding goal, only achieving up to $4,000 towards its $30,000 goal. Not much else can be said about this failed campaign, however, as no new details regarding the game and its development has been mentioned by the game's creator since then. We at OnRPG are planning to reach out to the creator for more comments and more information on this game's future. For our new and ongoing campaigns this month, first we have Rokh by Darewise Entertainment. Set in the far reaches of space, Rokh is a first-person sandbox MMO where players must work with and against each other in order to survive on the planet Mars. Players must explore the planet in order to collect resources, craft tools, weapons, and eventually create a colony that can hold and sustain a sizable human population. This game also plans to feature a 155 square mile recreation of the planet Mars with different landmarks, as well as a dynamic weather system with elements such as solar rains and falling meteorites. With such a unique theme and a huge world to explore, Rokh plans to take the survival adventure genre in a much different direction. He also go on to mention that they want this game to reach the same level of community as in EVE Online. And in order to achieve this, they plan to include customizable buildings, player-run economies, a deep harvesting system, and the inclusion of player-made mods, so it's certainly not beyond the realm of possibility. However, since the planet Mars is uninhabited by other creatures, my only concern would be with the game's overall excitement factor when no other players are out getting in your way, so I really do hope that the game's environments and natural threats will provide something that will keep players on their toes. At the time of this recording, however, this campaign has barely achieved 15% of its funding, and it needs about more than $95,000 in order to reach its base funding goal. This campaign ends on June 5th, 2016. Next we have The Islands of Nyne by Define Human Studios. Now this is a very unique multiplayer FPS title where up to 100 players compete in an alien blood sport, where one and only one player will survive. No, in order to survive, players will have to loot buildings for supplies, hijack cars to travel around the island, and eliminate everyone that stands in their way through ranged or melee combat. With plans for solid FPS mechanics and scavenger elements from modern survival games, the Islands of Nyne could end up being the great Hunger Games simulator that gamers have always wanted. Or at the very least, the Hunger Games simulator that I've always wanted, since I'm a fan of the movies, and it's something that I've always wanted to see get recreated in video game form. Although the main differences presented here is that the Islands of Nyne aren't restricted to a single kind of environment, but also environments with themes like a pirate bay or probably Roman arenas, as well as alien environments too. Now I feel with these unique environments to explore, mixed in with the run and gun gameplay, will offer up a ton of possibilities for fun and hilarious situations. Now, what my concern with the game is how long matches will take, and what will happen if you're the unfortunate player that gets killed off early in the game. Will those players have to wait and watch other players play, or will they be able to leave the match in order to play in another match? Now, of course, we also have to question if the general shooting mechanics are solid enough to compare to other popular shooters, but as I mentioned, their plans to support a competitive scene leaves me very optimistic. Not to mention that the game plans to include a betting system and VR support, so there's a lot to look forward to here. Now, anyway, the campaign has earned 40% of its funding, and it needs about $40,000 in order to reach its base funding goal. This campaign ends on June 9th, 2016. Lastly, we have an FPS title known as Midair, created by Archetype Studios. Described as an ultra fast-paced first-person Z shooter, Midair is a game that offers freedom of movement and skill-based shooting mechanics very akin to the classic FPS title known as Tribes 2. Unlike Tribes 2, however, Midair offers a free-form equipment system that allows players to choose their weight class, weapon, and equipment loadout in order to suit their play style. Also akin to Tribes 2, the game will feature its flagship game modes, including Capture the Flag and Rapid Chase, along with a huge array of projectile, hit-scan weapons, vehicle combat, and a free-to-play business model. Many gamers are seeing Midair as a true successor to the series. Okay, so I actually have quite a lot I want to say about this one, because I feel like a game such as this is very much needed in the gaming market right now, as I feel that there isn't enough skill-based multiplayer shooters of this caliber available at the moment, even though Hi-Rez Studios, the owner of Smite and Paladins, still have their own official installment to the series known as Tribes Ascend, which had so much promise back in the day as a contender to become a very, very popular esport. But as some of you may know, Hi-Rez initially decided to simplify the game by making things like hit-scan weapons more powerful and limiting the game's skill cap and other elements of the game. They tried to make the game a lot more appealing to casual as well as hardcore FPS players, but they ended up appealing to no one in the end. They tarnished the game's reputation so much that they just flat out abandoned the game so they can work on Smite for several months. And by the time that they got back to Tribes Ascend, it was kind of already too late. Now, I can't say that I'm a die-hard fan of the Tribes series, and even back when I played Tribes Ascend during its prime, I was fairly terrible at the game, but I kept coming back to it time and time again because the thing I always appreciated about the game is that the speed and skill that is required in order to master the game, or at least play on a competent level, it simply wasn't a game that you could just pick up and play. Well, you could pick up and play it, but it requires a lot of practice and a lot of patience. And that's what I really liked about Tribes Ascend in its prime. And that's what I'm seeing from this upcoming Midair game, because it looks like a game that's not going to compromise on its vision like Hi-Rez did with Ascend. And I mean, Hi-Rez did try to revive the game back in December of 2015, but the damage was already done. Now, this game has a much more passionate community backing it, and I already see like tournaments and plans for a modding community, so I really want to see where this goes. And overall, since Midair plans to include just as much customization and features, if not more features in Tribes Ascend, it could possibly succeed in a lot of places where Hi-Rez Studios has failed. Now, at the time of this recording, this game has nearly earned $90,000 and needs just another $10,000 in order to reach its base funding goal. This campaign ends on June 4th, 2016. And that's all the time I have for this Kickstarter recap this month. So if you'd like to learn more about the games featured in this video, just check out the links in the description below. But as always, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for next month's recap. This is Mikedot saying over and out.